When the dinosaurs disappeared, Earth did not become peaceful. It became experimental. The asteroid impact erased the creatures that had ruled the planet for over 160 million years. Entire ecosystems collapsed in darkness and fire. But when the skies finally cleared, something unexpected emerged from the ruins. Not weaker animals, not harmless survivors, but creatures so strange, so massive, and so perfectly adapted to chaos that Earth itself began to feel alien. And some of them were more terrifying than the dinosaurs ever were. For millions of years after the extinction event, Earth was unstable. Forests regrew across a hotter planet. Oxygen levels shifted. Oceans changed temperature. Entire food chains had vanished almost overnight, leaving empty ecological roles waiting to be filled. Evolution responded the only way it knew how: by experimenting. And one of its first creations was Titanoboa. Imagine standing in a rainforest where the air is so hot and humid it becomes difficult to breathe. Swamps stretch endlessly beneath giant ferns and thick jungle canopies. Somewhere beneath the dark water, something begins to move. Not quickly, slowly, quietly. Titanoboa was the largest snake ever discovered. Estimates suggest it reached between 12 and 15 meters long and weighed over 1,300 kilograms. But what made it truly terrifying was not just its size. It was the world that allowed it to exist. Cold-blooded animals depend heavily on external temperatures. The hotter the environment, the larger they can grow. And during the Paleocene epoch, global temperatures were far higher than today. Tropical conditions stretched across huge portions of the planet. Earth had become the perfect breeding ground for monsters. Titanoboa did not need venom. It hunted using pressure. Once it wrapped around prey, escape became impossible. Fossil evidence suggests it preyed on giant fish, crocodilians, and almost anything unfortunate enough to enter the water beside it. But Titanoboa was only the beginning. Because while giant snakes ruled the swamps of South America, another predator was evolving in the open plains. And unlike dinosaurs, this one looked almost familiar, until it started running toward you. The terror birds were among the strangest predators Earth ever produced. Standing up to 3 meters tall, these flightless birds evolved after the extinction of the dinosaurs and quickly became apex hunters across South America. At first glance, they almost seem impossible. Birds are supposed to fly. These creatures abandoned flight entirely and transformed themselves into killing machines. Their legs became long and muscular, built for speed across open ground. Their beaks evolved into massive, hooked blades, capable of crushing bone and tearing flesh apart with violent downward strikes. Some studies suggest they could sprint at speeds exceeding 48 kilometers per hour. And for millions of years, almost nothing could challenge them. What makes terror birds so unsettling is that they reveal something important about evolution. When the dinosaurs vanished, Earth did not become less violent. Violence simply changed shape. The new rulers of the planet were faster, smarter, more specialized, and evolution was just getting started. Because while giant birds dominated the land, something even larger was taking control of the oceans. Far below the surface, where sunlight faded into darkness, Megalodon was hunting. At an estimated length of 18 to 20 meters, Megalodon was the largest predatory shark to ever exist. Its teeth alone reached over 18 centimeters long. But the true horror was its bite force. Scientists estimate Megalodon could deliver between 108,000 and 182,000 newtons of force in a single bite, strong enough to crush the skull of a whale instantly. and unlike modern sharks, Megalodon lived during a period when marine ecosystems were overflowing with massive prey. Ancient whales, giant fish, seals, and marine mammals filled the oceans. For a predator this large, Earth had become an all-you-can-eat ecosystem. But here is the strange part. Gigantism was happening everywhere. Not just in snakes, not just in sharks. The entire planet seemed to be producing oversized life forms. In South America, Megatherium evolved into a giant ground sloth, standing nearly 6 meters tall when upright. Its claws were enormous, capable of ripping through vegetation or defending against predators with terrifying force. Nearby, Glyptodon evolved into something that looked almost engineered, a massive armored mammal covered in a shell made of solid bone. Some species weighed nearly a ton. Predators struggled to injure them at all. Then Australia joined the madness. Diprotodon, the largest marsupial ever discovered, reached weights of nearly 3 tons. Giant monitor lizards hunted across the continent. Massive birds stalked dry plains. Earth no longer resembled the familiar world humans know today. It felt ancient, unstable, almost alien. And the strangest part is that these creatures were not evolutionary accidents. Earth itself was creating them. After the dinosaurs disappeared, ecosystems became unpredictable. Climate shifts, rising temperatures, expanding forests, and abundant resources created ideal conditions for gigantism. Large bodies stored energy more efficiently. Bigger animals could travel farther, retain heat better, and defend themselves more effectively. For millions of years, evolution favored size. The planet had entered an arms race, and then something appeared that completely broke the pattern. Humans. Compared to the monsters surrounding them, early humans were weak beyond belief. Australopithecus stood barely over a meter tall. Early Homo species lacked claws, fangs, armor, or strength. They were physically inferior to almost every major predator around them. Fossil evidence shows many of them were hunted constantly. Saber-toothed cats, giant hyenas, massive birds of prey. Early humans were not dominating this world. They were surviving it, barely. But evolution had discovered something more dangerous than size: adaptability. About 2.5 million years ago, the human brain began expanding rapidly. Not enough to overpower predators physically, but enough to learn from failure, enough to cooperate, enough to remember. Stone tools appeared not as weapons of conquest, but as survival tools for an animal that could not survive naturally. Then came fire, and everything changed. Fire extended activity into the night. It scared predators away from campsites. It allowed food to be cooked and digested more efficiently. Suddenly, humans could survive environments that would have killed them before. But even then, humans were not guaranteed success. Many human species failed completely. Neanderthals vanished. Denisovans disappeared. Homo floresiensis survived in isolation before eventually dying out. Evolution continued testing possibilities, eliminating most of them along the way. Because Earth was still unstable. Climate swings continued for millions of years. Ice ages advanced and retreated. Entire habitats transformed repeatedly. Predators evolved, disappeared, and evolved again. The planet was not designed for comfort. It never was. And that becomes obvious when we return to the moment all of this began. 66 million years ago, a single asteroid changed the biological history of Earth forever. The object measured roughly 10 to 15 kilometers wide and struck the planet at nearly 64,000 kilometers per hour. The impact released more energy than billions of nuclear bombs combined. Within seconds, the surface of Earth vaporized around the impact zone. Shockwaves triggered earthquakes across the planet. Tsunamis hundreds of meters tall swept across oceans. Wildfires ignited globally as debris rained back through the atmosphere. Then came the darkness. Dust and sulfur compounds blocked sunlight for years. Temperatures collapsed worldwide. Photosynthesis nearly stopped. Plants died first. Herbivores followed. Carnivores starved soon after. Earth entered an impact winter. And suddenly, the traits that once guaranteed survival became fatal burdens. Large bodies required too much food. Specialized hunters could no longer adapt. The giants died first. Around 75% of all species vanished, not over millions of years, but frighteningly fast. And yet some things survived. Small mammals hidden underground, birds capable of changing diets quickly, crocodiles with slow metabolisms, turtles able to survive long periods without food, ferns spreading across ruined landscapes. The winners were not stronger, only more flexible. That may be the coldest truth in Earth's history. Evolution does not reward dominance forever. It rewards adaptation. The dinosaurs once ruled the planet longer than humans have even existed. And yet, they disappeared in what was, geologically speaking, an instant. The strange creatures that replaced them ruled for millions of years, too. Some became monsters of unimaginable size. Others became nearly indestructible. But eventually, they vanished as well, because Earth never stops changing. The planet does not care which species dominates it. Every ecosystem, every predator, every evolutionary advantage is temporary. The same world that created Titanoboa, terror birds, and Megalodon still exists beneath our feet right now. And if the conditions ever changed again, evolution would begin experimenting all over again. The only question is, what kind of creatures would rise next? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more history mysteries.